am Justin Boyd.
I'm the villain.
And if my AI had a name, it would be called Diddy's Freak Off.
Oh, Lord. Too much. And we are the Watchers in the Basement.
So timely, Franks. Timely with your comments. Appreciate it. Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. We are here today to discuss the final 3 episodes of the Disney Plus series Ironheart. Now, Frank, you didn't join us last week. We talked about the first 3. So I want to get your thoughts overall for the entire season. What did you think about this show?
I mean, Marvel treated it like their stepchild, like it didn't want to be seen. Like they treated it like the Hunchback of Notre Dame in the fucking clock tower. Like I don't know, they planned for it to fail. They were embarrassed by it. That's why they did it in binge mode for 3 episodes at a time. But I mean, I thought it was fine. I mean, I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty good storyboarding. I don't know why it took so long for it to come out since it got shot a couple years ago. But I mean, I think, I mean, it has its issues, but the story, I thought the story was good. The cast was really good. I like that how it showcases Riri's ability as far as her intellect and that she's not somebody to be fucked with. Like, I think the show did a good job of showcasing that. I wish it really showcased more because I'm not really sure, and maybe I talked about this last week, but I'm not too clear on the timeline. I don't know how far removed from Wakanda Forever. Because like last time we saw her, she was working at a Wakanda research outpost center, with Shuri. And when the story kicks off, she's getting suspended from MIT, like indefinitely. So I wish it would have gave more background of like what happened between Wakanda Forever leading up to the first episode, just to let me know where she's at intellectually. I mean, in her trying to find herself. I have problems of like what the story did as far as her trying to find a way to make money. Like you're literally one of the brightest people on the planet. Like you're up there with Tony Stark and Shuri and T'Challa, like, and Mr. Fantastic whenever he comes to this multiverse. Like she's very, very bright. And to be working with a criminal underworld team, I thought was kind of weird. I mean, and Wakanda Forever, she's literally, her designs literally got stolen from her to like search for vibranium under the sea, and like now she's over here trying to find a job. I thought it was kind of weird, but there's good things about the story that I liked. I mean, I loved her. I love the family atmosphere that they showcased throughout the show. I like the unique way they showcase her AI, her dead friend. There's some black colloquialisms I think that got overlooked by mainstreamers that I think people like myself could like really enjoy. But I mean, all in all, I thought it was a good story.
Yeah, Brittany, what did you think about it?
I actually really love this miniseries. Whether it's going to feed into the next big movie or could it come back and have its next season, I don't know. But for me personally, I really did enjoy this show and really thought that for the storyline, given that how long it's been since we've seen Riri, right? It's already been mentioned. First time we saw her was Wakanda Forever. And it picks up to me in kind of response to Frank's question about like storyline or how far away are we from Wakanda Forever or how close. I think it kind of picks up fairly quickly personally, but I do see his point about just the time frame of things because some things weren't very clear, right? But for what the story offered and introducing or reintroducing Riri and all the other characters that followed, and the storyline itself was, I think, fleshed out really, really well, right? Because towards the end of the season, I was thinking, God, are we going to actually find out why the Hood does what he does? Why is he going after these big corporations other than just saying, hey, I'm going to go after the big corporations and get all the money? We did get the reason, right? Which I'm glad, there were loose ends that they did wrap up in just 6 episodes, which I think is fairly impressive given the fact that I think collectively agree that Marvel has kind of just, it's in over its head at times because of the fact that it has to provide content for the streaming platform. We've been saying this for years, y'all. Okay, this isn't brand new information, but I think for what it was, I really enjoyed the episodes. I love the characters. The music was fire throughout these episodes. I mean, like during the episodes, the credits, I love the fact that they actually incorporated a song from Anthony Ramos in the end of the 4th episode, which was just very cool. I don't know if he necessarily did it for the show because it was from 2023, but either way, I really enjoyed the show. I'm very interested in these characters. The rumors that we were kind of hearing about a certain character, whether or not he would make his appearance actually happen, which was really cool. I have thoughts, of course, about the performance by said actor that I have not said. But anyway, I really did enjoy this series. I'm a little miffed, of course, at the very end of it, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought was a good, solid show. You kind of like we talked about last week. Like, I really enjoy the cast. Thought the family dynamic was really great in this show. Um, we had what 3 Ironheart suits that we saw. I thought every one of them was pretty cool and pretty different. Like that was kind of fun to see in a in a TV show basically. But the thing I really want to highlight, and this is going to lead into what Brittany was talking about, is to me this was a good show with maybe the best ending of any Disney Plus show. I mean, the only show that I could think of that had a better ending was the Loki season 2. That was an epic ending for that show. But this was pretty close with the introduction of Mephisto, which we've heard about for 5 years now, or over 5 years. It was kind of people thought online it was big, like, oh, Mephisto's going to appear in WandaVision, which is the first Disney Plus Marvel show, and then we finally got Mephisto. Mephisto was actually listed or mentioned in Agatha all along, which came out in October of 2024. But we finally got the character. We got the devil, Marvel's devil, and in the form of Sacha Baron Cohen. And I thought his scenes were great with Anthony Ramos and Dominique Thorne, respectively. Frank, what did you think about the introduction of Mephisto into the MCU and in this the season finale of this show?
I love Mephisto. Mephisto. I just wish they would have saved him for like as the next big bad. Because we all know Doom is coming, right? Like that's the next big bad for the MCU. And I just kind of feel like they're undercutting Mephisto's screen time and like his importance of like what he could be as an impending threat. I have no problem like introducing him in a Marvel television format, but my fear is that his introduction is going to get lost in translation with everything that's going on with Doom and everything that's coming along with that. With Secret Wars, Doomsday, Secret Wars possibly Part 2, unless they do it in a way where like he's just in the shadows. But this is a bad motherfucker, and when you decide to play that Mephisto card, you cannot fuck this up. He's a bad dude, bro. Like we talk about Dormammu, like he's not at Dormammu level, but he's right below. Like he's a Thanos level threat. Like he's beyond Thanos, even with the gauntlet. Like he's a powerful Hell Lord. One of the many Hell Lords. Like he has crazy feats in the Marvel comics. Like he's a problem. And I don't, and maybe they do have plans for him, but Justin and I was talking today and like I don't know where they unveil him again, because the next movie's Fantastic Four. I'm sure he's not gonna be in that. Like that's a whole different time setting. Yeah. After Fantastic Four, I know you have Wonder Man in December, and I think Doomsday next December. Like we may not see him again for another 3 years. Like, realistically, I mean, maybe Brand New Day. Like there's a storyline in the comics where he comes across Spider-Man and he brings back a dead loved one of Spider-Man. So that could, but again, if you don't unveil him again, if you wait 3 or 4 years to unveil him again, I feel like you lose all momentum that you did by unveiling him in episode 6. So though I do love Mephisto, I question the plan of how they continue to play with this momentum, or does he just fall to the wayside and as a forgotten big bad? Because he is a big bad.
And it's funny that you say the comparison between Mephisto and Dormammu, because that was kind of mentioned in the final episode where Riri meets Mephisto after all the events of what happened with Hood. And she's like, okay, Mr. Dormammu man. And he's like, ha, like, ha, he's not like worth. I'm not going to repeat what he said because I'm just not, but like, he's like, basically Dormammu is below him. But that's pretty typical of a big bad who thinks very highly of themselves and thinks everyone else who is a bad is just below them. So, but for you to say that Dormammu is more formidable than Mephisto is like, oh shit, like that's saying something. But for Mephisto, for one, we finally got the mention, not just the mention, we got the reveal. I do remember earlier, either this year or at the end of last year, where rumors were circulating that it was Sacha Baron Cohen. And I gotta say, I was actually very impressed with Sacha's Mephisto, because for one, in case you're brand new to the world, Sacha Baron Cohen is usually like a comedy type guy. Like he's very silly, just very out there, and he
Borat,
which I still actually have not seen, but I have seen him in other projects where he's just silly. He does voices, he does these very outlandish sort of characters, and to see him in a more kind of serious but more I'm gonna F you up if you don't do as I say kind of thing, because the distorted voice was like, oh, we're adding like a layer of terror in there. And then for whatever reason he chose to, or the production decided to say, hey, you're gonna go with like an American accent, and then when you come back to talk to Hood, you're going to do your own accent, which is he is British. So, and I feel like every time there's like a big bad, it's always like a British accent. So there's something about the posh sort of voice where if you're British, you're pretty much the bad guy. I don't necessarily agree with that, but hey, it works. But I really enjoyed Sacha's performance as Mephisto, as little as we got of it. But I was so effing miffed at the end of this episode, the final episode with Riri, because I'm like, Riri girl, like you understand who, like you should understand who this person is and how he has twisted Parker, aka the Hood, and you see physically what's happening to Parker with this Hood, and then you're gonna go make a bargain with him?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I was so upset by that. But hey, it is what it is. But Mephisto, holy crap. Yeah, the first we all thought WandaVision. Hey, I think, Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, Wanda's children are a result of Wanda and Mephisto, not so much Wanda and Vision. I think they just kind of made it for the MCU, or I don't remember. Like the children are a gift of Mephisto, I guess you could say.
I do remember we're in a story. I don't know there's a 616 storyline, but there is a storyline where Mephisto gives, because in one storyline she couldn't have children, like she was barren, and Mephisto does cut a deal with her to give her 2 kids. I can't remember if that's a 616 storyline or an alternate storyline.
Either way, I've heard these stories that revolve around Mephisto. I actually thought that one of the agents, that was watching, oh god, I'm spacing out on the city that she took over, the town that she took over. Anyway, doesn't matter. The point is, I thought that agent was Mephisto, and then finally when we got Westview. Yeah. Thank you. And then finally when we got the name drop in Agatha all along, I'm like, oh, it's happening, Hercules. But loved the performance. I hope, to Frank's point, that they're not going to take another 3+ years to bring him back and make him relevant. He's got to have like appearances in other, be it TV shows or other movie installments. Like he's got to make, it's either got to be a reference or it's got to be like a small cameo or like something like he mid-credit, post-credit, something.
Yeah, that's a good question, is when will we see Mephisto next? When will we see Riri? Because that's really what I want to discuss, because she makes the decision. She, makes a deal with the devil. She lost N.A.T.A.L.I.E, before the show. she loses the AI version of Natalie during the show in episode 5, and she's tempted. You know, even though Riri is one of the smartest people in the world, she's still young, and that's probably the explanation of why she makes such a poor decision because also she's tempted. You know, like she wants something that like she can't physically do it herself. As smart as
Yeah.
she is, she can't do it. So she makes the decision. And my thing is,
At what cost?
exactly. And we do see what at the end when she hugs Natalie, who's back, you see on her arm, she has the markings of Mephisto. Much like what, yeah,
I missed that.
if you look at her arm, it starts like you know, branching out or whatever you want to call it.
Like
It's like
growing fast too.
yeah, it grow pretty fast. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
like-
How did I miss that?
yeah, so she has the markings of Mephisto already, and you know she's obviously gonna feel it right away, unless I don't know. Obviously, she doesn't have to wear a hood. I don't know what she has to do to kind of control it. Like Parker, when he took off the hood, he was in pain pretty much constantly. But as far as like with what happened, her decision, I've got to know like, does the rest of the world, is it one of those things where Natalie's back and everyone else never knew that she died, or like do they have to explain it? Because obviously the mother is going to be like, what's Natalie doing back? Why isn't Gary back also, the stepdad? It's, to me, I feel like we need to know the answer to that pretty soon, because that's a pretty big deal, you know, is whether it's if it's like like the Spider-Man thing that Frank was explaining, where in the Mephisto comic, where he basically like everyone forgets that he's Spider-Man, or like what Doctor Strange did in No Way Home, where everyone forgets he's Spider-Man. I wonder if it's going to be one of those things. Frank, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be one of those, because like one of Mephisto's powers is that he can alter reality and alter time.
Yeah.
So without the time stone, that's like he's like warping, altering reality abilities that he has. And in the Spider-Man One More Day comic, when Aunt May dies and he brings back when he works with Peter and like does a deal with Peter to bring back Aunt May, the sacrifice is that he has to give up his marriage to Mary Jane. Right. And when he does that, the world forgets the marriage to Mary Jane. Only he remembers it, and then they forget that Aunt May ever died. And he brings back Aunt May. So that was the deal in that comic book. So he didn't have to give up his soul. He had to give up his marriage, and like in that. So it might be a thing where like Riri had to give up something precious and not her soul. We'll see. Because not every deal that Mephisto makes with his clients is soul based. It's sometimes a sacrifice of like something else that's near and dear. So it'll be interesting to see. But seeing that, it made me wonder, like, does Brand New Day go that route of One More Day? And does Aunt May come back? And does Mephisto show up in Brand New Day and bring back Aunt May? Like my mind was just twisting and turning about like all the possibilities of how you can keep Mephisto in lurking behind the scenes over the next few movies, or in this upcoming phase. So
yeah, because looking at the schedule up ahead, you kind of talked about this a little bit ago, but like I just don't see, like, I think that he's a big enough character. By the way, in this episode, Sacha Baron Cohen's character felt like a movie villain to me.
Bruh.
Even though this is a show, he had the gravitas of like a movie kind of character. Looking ahead, obviously we have the next movie is Fantastic Four, which is in a few weeks. Don't think we'll see Mephisto in that. Then we got Doomsday next December. Who knows? Probably not. There's so many people in that movie. I don't think you need to throw in another character. Then you've got Secret Wars the next year after that. You got Spider-Man slated to be in between next summer, which we'll see if that movie actually stays next summer. I think it might get pushed back. Spider-Man to me would be the one that makes the most sense. The only problem with that is the fact that Spider-Man obviously is a co-production between Sony and Marvel, and it's like you're already going to have Punisher, maybe Daredevil, maybe Hulk in this Spider-Man movie. If you add Mephisto, or do you have too many people? Like, do you have too much in it to where you almost do like a Batman v Superman, where you've got like 4 different stories that you're trying to put in a blender and make into some kind of weird kind of smoothie? So we'll see what happens.
I feel like it's got to be, I don't know, just because there was so much dialogue that kind of surrounded Dormammu, and the one and only time we saw Dormammu was in Doctor Strange, the first movie. And then even in the mid-credit, which Justin had to point it out to me that there was a mid-credit in the final episode. So
talk about it.
So Parker, spoiler, survives. He goes to the shop where all the sweets, the reeds, and the magical things happen. Talks to, I think her name's Zelma.
Zelma.
Zelma, cool girl, love her, protect her at all costs. He talks to her and basically is like, hey, I heard you're like the place to, come to for some magic, not some parlor trick kind of situation. He's like, I'm talking like supreme magic. And like that key word of supreme is like, are we talking like supreme, like Sorcerer Supreme here? Because Chromatage was referenced as well, like in her not having, I guess, been properly trained, but she does possess some sort of like skills. She's like a sorcerer. And so I feel like if we're going to get a Mephisto reference again or appearance, it would need to be in the next Doctor Strange installment.
Right. I agree with you. And that's Doctor Strange 3 has been kind of like mentioned for the last couple of years. And also in the past year, we've heard about a Strange Academy, which would be a Disney Plus series, which might be more likely considering that Zelma is a little witch. And, maybe that'll be her way to continue her dark arts, maybe is this academy, if the show happens. Cause again, there's a lot of right now with Marvel, so much stuff is up in the air, and it's probably the most unclear time they've had since they began back in 2008.
I am here for all the witchy, magical, dark arts, whatever. As a Potterhead, Slytherin, y'all know this is my thing. This is my jam. Doctor Strange is one of my favorite characters. Bring back Wanda. Bring back the chaos. All right. Bring it all back.
Yeah.
Now, there is a storyline in the 616 where Mephisto traps Doom's mother's soul, which motivates Dr. Doom to like study magic to free her. Now, I don't know if that's going to play a part in any of these Doom movies coming up, but Doom and Mephisto do cross paths a couple times.
Yeah.
In the comics. So I don't know if that's going to be a thing in Doomsday. If it is, I'd be kind of dope to see those two guys go at it. And another crazy feat that Mephisto's cold, bro. I'm sorry. I love this.
I'm so excited.
Another feat.
I hope I'm not let down.
No, Sasha did a great job. But another feat that he did too. So everybody knows Ghost Rider, right? The Soul of Vengeance. He is the one that combined that merged the Soul of Vengeance to Johnny Blaze to create Ghost Rider. Like that's Mephisto.
Okay.
Like he cuts a deal with Mephisto. So that's all. Now I never seen the Ghost Rider movies. So I don't know if he's mentioned in the John in the Cage movies, but
Cage, yeah.
I did see that movie, but it's been forever.
So but he is the one that created Ghost Rider.
So there was a Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., frankly. You watched it. I haven't seen it.
I did.
And there was a rumor like a few months back that they were apparently looking to cast a Ghost Rider that might appear in Doomsday. Now, I don't know if it's going to be the same actor, because the same actor, he's from The Last of Us. I can't think of the guy's name.
Gabriel Luna.
Gabriel Luna. There you go. Yeah. Okay.
I love that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it's him. Or maybe it's someone else, but there has been a lot of talk that we might see Ghost Rider in Doomsday. So if that's the case, it sounds like the chances of Mephisto being referenced or being mentioned are probably pretty decent.
Yeah. Gabriel Luna, man.
Go ahead.
No, Gabriel Luna, he carried Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 3 and 4. Like he was his Ghost Rider because the Darkhold was in that season 4 of Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and he carried that season. Like he was so good. ABC was talking about giving him, or Hulu was talking about giving him his own Ghost Rider show, but it fell through. And I would have been. I think it would have been a freeform if I remember correctly. But Gabriel Luna, he nailed that role. Like he's it. So I hope they do bring him back.
Just as long as it's not Nicolas Cage again, that's fine by me.
Yeah. The other options for next time we see Riri might be, I mean, hopefully there's a season 2. I think that's probably the least likely, honestly, even though that's the easiest one. There could be a Young Avengers movie, which I guess she could play into that in some way. Or there could be, there is going to be a Black Panther 3 at some point. We do know that there is a Marvel movie scheduled for December of 2028. We don't know what that movie is. There are a few options. It could be the first X-Men movie. It could be a Fantastic Four sequel. It could be if Secret Wars is a 2-parter and they push it to another year, like that might be the case. It could be a Black Panther 3 that could also be out there. So there's a lot of options. It's exciting. It's an exciting time. I think this is one of the most interesting endings of any of these shows because a lot of these shows, what's been the common complaint? Starts strong and fades at the end, right? Almost all these shows done that. This is one where, I mean, obviously it's so short that like, but I thought it was pretty strong throughout. But like the ending was so interesting, and like I rewatched it just for the podcast. And I'm like, those last 3 or 4 scenes are really great scenes, and I'm looking forward to finding out where this goes, because this is really good stuff. And you talk about with Doomsday coming up, Doom is a combination of magic and tech, which now Riri Williams is the same thing. So, and she does have ties to Doom in the comics, in the I think it's the infamous Iron Man comic book run.
Yeah.
Obviously, she has ties to Iron Man, which who knows, maybe now with her friend back in the flesh, maybe now Tony Stark could be her AI in the future. I mean, I would not hold my breath on that, but like,
Yeah.
there's some really interesting, fun possibilities. Who knows what we'll get, but I'm interested in finding out.
Now, I read something this week about Blade being back on. Is that true? Have they found a director for that role? I read something about Mahershala Ali. There's reports that is being put back on, and if that's true, then I mean Mephisto could show up in Blade as well.
Yeah, no, that's a good one too. Yeah, I mean, what I heard about Mahershala Ali, he was asked while doing the press for Jurassic World Rebirth, and he said that he's ready to go whenever. So
I love that.
I don't know if Marvel's ready to go, but I think he is. So that, I mean, at least he's still on board. Like, because if he wasn't, then that project would probably be dead, honestly.
Yeah.
So
keep that energy, Mahershala. Keep it.
That's a good another option. Blade, yeah, the Blade franchise. That would be a cool way to introduce the devil of Marvel. So
because if you bring Blade, hey, one of my favorite groups outside of Avengers and X-Force is Midnight Suns. That's Strange, yep. Blade, Moon Knight. I forgot who the fourth member is, Midnight Suns, but Mephisto was an adversary with Midnight Suns. So now the budget would be crazy. It had probably to be a movie because you can't pay Ursula Cumberbatch and all that TV money. It have to be a movie, but that'll be a great intro for. I mean, not intro, but a recurring role for Mephisto.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, another great option too. So, do y'all have any other like big overall thoughts before we kind of hit the high points of each episode?
I think for Ezekiel staying to kind of lean into that villainry sort of
forced villainry, but yeah,
forced villainry. Yeah, I was just like, well, this is just a matter of time. I mean, as hard as you try to not be like your parent who did the bad thing, and you kind of dabble in the same sort of field as that same parent. I mean, come on, you're kind of forced into it, like you said. But I mean, his final threat to, I call it a threat to Riri, even though she helped him with the voiceover, not voiceover, the voice, what do you call it? The being controlled by voice activation or something from the hood. Even though she helped him put a virus into the whole tech and reboot, he's like, hey, we still have business. It's like, oh shit. Like, what are you going to do, bro? Like, what are you going to do?
I did federal time because of your motherfucking ass. You damn right we got problems. It would have been longer. It would have been longer if it wasn't for the hood. Like, the hood got him out. Like, he got charged for time.
Took control. And then took control.
Yeah, but he got charged for time. He wasn't even there. Like Riri fucked up. She dropped evidence that
I'm not saying she didn't fuck up. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying
she put Zeke into he wasn't a part of it at all. And
I'll be pissed too.
I'm not disagreeing. But it's like, bruh, she's also like doing you a solid so that you don't have to be continuously controlled by this one person to do all the bad things that you ethically don't want to do. But okay, sure. We'll see how that goes.
That man was at home minding his business, beefing with his neighbor about some goddamn tulips, and all of a sudden the feds come in and throw him in prison. I'll be Brittany, if somebody framed you, whether it was accident or not, and you'll still be pissed. Yeah. You will be upset. Took away from your dog and your family, you will be upset.
I would have committed crimes that I cannot say here, of course. I don't need that to come back on me, but I understand. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying.
And then And then that prison, that scene when he's behind the glass and like he's like, "Oh, I fucked up. I'll get you out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here, man. I don't want to hear none of that shit. Just get me out of here."
Yeah, but the transformation in that scene too, because you brought that up. He seems like not like open to meeting with her and talking with her, but you see like the change in his eyes. Like he's like, "Oh, really? Yeah, I'm out. Like I'm done." You know, just I was like, "Oh, this is the beginning of his villain era. Like this has to be the beginning of his villain era." And I was like, "Woo, I was right."
And then like we don't know, like what we leave off is that she cracked him in the nuts and prosper and cracked the voice activation, but like, isn't he still a fugitive? Like that part was not ever wrapped up. Like he's still a fugitive. He escaped prison, so it's like he's probably on the run.
And does he have control of now? I mean, now that Parker doesn't have control of him, does he have control of those bionic implants in his body? That wasn't clear either. Yeah.
That wasn't clear either. Yeah.
Yeah. I would assume he has some kind of like power still. Otherwise, he's gonna be back in prison pretty fast, I would guess.
I just want to know if he's gonna go take care of Heather and her damn dog pooping in his yard, and like she's like, "I know karate." I was like, finger electric things, just like zapper. Come on. But anyway.
Yeah, so we're kind of talking about the first episode that we're getting to. It's bad magic. We got into to obviously the part with Zeke. Riri wants to find out what the hood is made of, and she takes it to she knows Madeline Stanton, which that's the mother, it's her mother's friend, and then we meet Zelma, and they are witches, they have powers, they basically discover that this hood is bad news. Like whatever this is made out of, steer clear of it. They tell her that.
They get kicked out.
Sure. Yeah, they get kicked out of there. I want to ask y'all something because this is kind of an Easter egg, and I haven't heard anybody else say this, but I noticed it right away. Did y'all notice that whenever this is early in the episode, whenever Riri is protecting her mom, she's like, "Hey, put on this watch." She tells her mom and Xavier, like, "Be sure you wear this watch no matter what to protect you." Mm-hmm. Well, and the mom, whenever the watch goes off and puts her in that bubble, the mom says she's watching X-Files. Do y'all know why she's watching X-Files? Do you have any idea, Brittany?
No. I mean, I used to watch the X-Files as a kid, but like,
so
I don't know.
I don't know for a fact, but I just know the fact that Ryan Coogler, obviously executive producer of this show, he's also working on a reboot of the X-Files. So I bet that's the reason why X-Files was mentioned. Just saying.
Okay.
Because it's not a Disney, it's not a Disney property. So like,
it is not.
No.
It was a Fox.
Like Scully and Mulder coming back to reprise their role.
Scully? No, probably not.
I think it's a new version. I don't know who's in it yet, but I don't think it's been cast, but he's been working on it for a couple of years.
But they kind of did a reboot like a few years ago. I want to say they brought them back for something.
And I'm not sure if it's going to be a TV series or it's going to be a movie series, but I mean, obviously Ryan Coogler has a lot of stuff to work on, but that's one of his projects. That's
he's fire. So that's cool. Like that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah. So I always like to find little, because I always wonder, like, why would they mention that? And I was like, it's got to be because that's one of his things. So
for sure.
Frank, anything else you noticed in the fourth episode you wanted to highlight?
I mean, they all run together. I watched them all.
I mean, Riri has a tough time. She has a panic attack. She's like sleeping in her suit. That's whenever the suit goes and picks up Xavier, and then he gets to see that his sister is back in AI form. That's a pretty big part of that episode. What'd you think about that kind of storyline?
Yeah, I can see the brothers why he's pissed. Like it's like, oh, you fucking with me? Why are you playing on the memory of my sister? And I mean, again, she made her on accident. I mean, she fell asleep and it scanned her brainwaves. But I get it. Like that could be a jarring thing to see your dead loved one reimagined in a hologram form. Like that's not something that you want to see unless it's the real person. So great job. I don't know the actor's name, but the guy, he did a great job in this series, man. Like I guess the official, unofficial love interest of the show.
Yeah.
That was the way he reacted, I thought was pristine, was great acting on his part. Mm-hmm. That would be tough, man. I mean, if I came across a dead loved one hologram and they walked and talked and acted like my loved one, it would drum up a lot of raw emotions, good and bad. So that was a strong scene, very powerful. I love the sense of family that this showcased throughout the episode, from the stepdad to Natalie, and like even the development between the AI and Natalie and Riri throughout the episode. I love the development of that, because even Riri, she was kind of like staved off from her in the first few episodes, and then like they gained a closeness, and then she was ripped away due to that magic trance or whatever. But nah, I thought episode 4 was really, really good. It's probably my second best episode, my second favorite episode out of the 6.
The 6, yeah. Brittany, anything else from episode 4 you want to highlight?
I mean, I think we hit all the high points really, and I mean, from this episode, mostly for me, I was caught by surprise with the song that was playing in the credits that I mentioned earlier. It's from Anthony Ramos. It's entitled Villano, which is Spanish for villain. And so it's a Spanglish song. He basically talks about how, he's the villain, he's a criminal, this and that, what have you. And given that this series was filmed almost 3 years ago, that the song was released in 2023. So I don't know if it was from his time as a villain in a TV series, and that's what it maybe brought on the writing of the song. I don't know if he wrote it himself, but nonetheless, I thought it was a good choice, to have like an actor, main character, right, have a song featured in the end credits and it be entitled Villain. Oh, it was really cool. But for overall, like the introduction of, I forget at times in 616 that Avengers and magic and like outer space beings and things like this is just like universally accepted in their world, and it's just kind of like, it's another Tuesday basically. And to see how calm like Riri and her mother were, I say calm loosely, when the magic transferred them from one location to the other, like to the behind that back door or the basement or whatever, and just how like, okay, this is what we're doing, like give me more information. I don't know, I really liked it, because usually it would just like freak people out in general, but again, this is a world where supernatural type things occur almost on a daily basis. But I love Zelma. Again, protect her at all costs, people. Like but I'm a little concerned. I am a little concerned having watched that mid-credit scene with the hood.
Well, I mean, isn't it interesting the fact that we have Mephisto? He was teamed up with Parker. Obviously, Parker needed him, and then you have Riri and Mephisto at the end of the episode. Then in the credits, you have Zelma and Parker then kind of maybe coming together. So it's some interesting pairings with this show. Moving on to episode 5, Karma's a Glitch is the title of that episode. Two main things from this episode: we get more of Parker's backstory. We find out that his dad is this rich guy. He owns this company. I think it's called Artwork, CEO of Artworks. And this is where Parker has this is why he's doing these hostile takeovers, or these like illegal hostile takeovers of these other companies, because of his relationship with his dad. And then we also get Riri building her new suit with the help of her family and friends at Gary's garage, and basically taking the car they worked on and making that car her suit. Frank, what'd you think about the car suit that it's her final suit of the series?
I was like, man, don't dismantle that beautiful car, man.
No.
Come on, man. Oh, that car, that was a classic car. I love the look of that car, but I get it. It's just she doesn't have the resources that Tony has or Sherry has, so on and so forth. So they gotta do with what they have. But no, that was one of my favorite scenes of the show, like the matriculation of the development of that new suit. The black and red, man, design that's cold.
Fire.
That's a fire ass design. Like, how everybody came together to the village mentality of everybody coming together to get that suit together. And again, like this is Riri with no resources. So let's hope that she gets to a point where she does get resources to because the suits got better and better and better after each creation. It'll be cool to see like when she gets like financial backing or she gets back at MIT or whatever, to where she makes really dope ass suits. I want to say this too before we move on to episode 6. The main the show was fine. The one thing I had an issue with was the fusing of magic and tech with this character. I feel like the magic shit and the all that mythical stuff should have been suited for like a WandaVision or a Doctor Strange movie or a character that involved themselves in magic. I feel like the technological aspect of what makes Riri so great and what makes Riri was kind of distracted by all the magic. And Mephisto, the Hood, these are mythical beings that I feel like even with Riri does not like, she can't stop Mephisto. Like she's a human being in an iron suit. Like in all the Iron Man movies, you never really saw Iron Man deal with like, well, in solo movies at least, deal with magic or deal with like mythical elements. So I thought that was what I felt like it didn't fit as far as like the adversary, the villain, for this character. So I think what makes a great protagonist is also a great antagonist and how they go back and forth. And it just seemed off to me. Like it's like watching Jon Snow fight the U.S. military or Jason Bourne fight like a dragon. It's like two different properties from two different walks of life fusing as one, and it kind of threw me off. I was hoping to like focus more on the tech side than with the magic side. But I mean, I like the story. I just wish it was a antagonist that was more grounded and more realistic to like face off with Riri.
Okay. No, for this episode, I liked how the Hood is trying to get his crew together because he knows the truth about Riri at this point, where she had outsourced, right? Got what's his face involved, Stain involved. Right. He was in jail, and then now there's a hit on Riri, right? So everyone, the whole crew, Slug, Clown, the Blood Sibs, are going after her at White Castle. I guess White Castle's like a big Chicago thing. I don't think we have that here too much. But anyway,
it's the fight scene was cool. Brand. Yeah.
Is it really? Okay.
I don't know if it's big in Chicago, but I know it's like Northeast, maybe Midwest, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, either way. I like the fight scene. I thought that was cool. I thought it was clever to show kind of like how quick you have to think on your feet, literally, right? And Clown being like the pyro bomb kind of expert, she takes a whack at Riri, and Riri tells her, hey, Hood kill Rampage. And that kind of does something. It makes Clown kind of maybe just take a step back for a little bit, because eventually it's revealed to the Hood that, hey, we know what you did to Rampage. And like, you talk about family, you talk this big game about, we're all in this together and da. But you just lost it because he fired everyone, right? And so he's in on his own. And then he is I guess he's needing to, well, maybe I'm just getting slightly ahead of myself, but the fact that he's going to go after his father, right? But he does that through forcing Stain to help him and keep people out and what have you. Long story short, I'm glad that we got the backstory about Hood and why he was going after all these high tech like companies to get the money, because he eventually was going to go back to his father, his childhood home, which we saw, I think, at the beginning of this episode, where he was robbing it with John, his cousin, R.I.P. And they got busted, right? And then it just kind of cuts away. But now learning that, his dad kicked him out when he was 12. Like, who does that? And his dad straight up like, yeah, I just didn't want you. I'm like, and the Father of the Year award goes to? Like, geez. Like, so yeah, I mean, Hood got what he wanted. He wanted to be powerful. He wanted to be rich, and he kicked out his dad. And it was just like, okay, well, at least they brought that story full circle in the sense of like why he operated the way that he did, like why he was going after everything, right? They tied up that loose end, which I was appreciative of, learning his background and then seeing that, he got what he wanted. But then is it enough? Is it ever going to be enough?
Let's go to the chat real quick. We got M Moves in the chat telling us about White Castle, saying it's big in New York and it's trash. So
okay.
So I can't say I've ever had White Castle. I have had Crystals, which apparently is very similar to White Castle. Crystals are these little slider kind of burgers that they're big in Central Texas. I don't know if anybody else has had Crystals before, but I think it's very similar to White Castle. There's a couple White Castle movies, though. Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle or whatever. Those movies were like 20 years ago. Yeah.
Funny, dog.
Yeah, those are funny movies. Yeah.
Okay.
Can't be done today. Cannot be done today.
Oh, yikes. Yeah, I think
they tore up that White Castle for sure. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I think the closest I would probably suggest is maybe like, what do you call it? In-N-Out, because I know that's like a big West Coast thing. It's now here in Texas, but the big thing in Texas is Whataburger. Like Whataburger is the thing, and y'all don't talk smack about it, please.
One of the final things we'll mention about episode 5 is that when they're creating the suit, Zelma gives basically provides magic to Riri's new suit so that she can resist the power of Parker Robbins. But in the process, we lose N.A.T.A.L.I.E, the AI, which I was like, oh, that's a bummer. Now she's lost N.A.T.A.L.I.E twice, like in real life, then the AI. And obviously I thought we were going to get to see her again. I did not think that she was going to make a deal with the devil to bring her back, but pretty tough stuff losing N.A.T.A.L.I.E twice. What do you think, Frank?
Yeah, I wish they would explain why the magic has something to do with the AI. Because AI is not magic; it's artificial intelligence. It's tech. So I don't know why it did that, unless I missed it.
I think it's just a sacrifice of some kind. It doesn't necessarily have to be magic. Like magic gives, but magic also takes. So
gotcha. Okay.
I don't think it has to be specifically something of equal value, meaning it has to be magic, but it's going to take something. And in this case, it took the AI N.A.T.A.L.I.E.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, I guess I missed that too. I
totally missed that.
I mean,
I'm not secretly a closeted witch. I'm just saying, like, I understand.
Again, my main problem with the show was how the show was released. I just don't like I don't like binging, but I don't like the we're going to bury this show. We're going to drop, in 2-3 episode chunks in 2 weeks. We're going to be done with it. I don't think that was fair for this show. And I thought the show was way better than I think it's way better than Marvel thought it was, honestly.
So I do want to say a theory that it's not my original theory. It's a coworker of ours who has watched Ironheart, and he was basically thinking that the way the show was going to go was you're going to have to combine tech with magic, and he was right. But his theory was that in order to power the new iron suit, is that the sample of the Hood's cloak or hood, was actually going to be used as like the power source to power up that suit or something like that. I'm like, that's a really cool theory. Like it's very dark because you don't know how that the material was going to respond to the tech. But I was like, oh, well, how do you fight magic? You fight magic with magic. And to me, because she already had that sample, like it was going to be somehow incorporated because it would have the ability to disappear. Right? Because it was doing that on its own. I don't know. I thought that would have been a really interesting theory. I don't know how it would have actually fit and worked itself into the thing. Also, it probably would have been extremely dangerous because it seems to be more evil incarnate. But I thought that was just a really interesting theory from another fan.
Yeah, no, that's a good theory. The only thing about that is that we lost that piece in episode 4, or was it 5?
Did we? I mean, because she tried vehemently to get rid of it, with acid, with temperature, like the cold and bombing it. You know what I'm saying? Like she tried to figure out how to destroy it, and she just couldn't.
Okay, I thought that Zelma though is the one that had the piece, and then she said, "Get rid of this. Like this is bad."
I mean, she did, but like,
Yeah.
but then Riri walked out and said, "Well, they didn't say how to destroy it," and that's when she went
There you go.
to the silo to go and do all that stuff. But anyway,
Again, 3 episodes at a time. Too much. Give me 1 a week, and I'll be locked in. I will know everything about it that I possibly can.
goodness,
It's your fault, Disney.
My question too is, who first mentioned Dormammu? I can't remember. Was it
Zelma?
Zelma? How the fuck she knows about Dormammu?
Well, because she knows of like the sorcerer, like the stuff that deals with like I guess Doctor Strange and Carmitage and all that other stuff. She knows of like those teachings and things. She's just never been allowed to properly study and train. Like she knows bits and pieces. That's why she kept saying it was like 47%. She was 47% sure that it was Dormammu, because of like what did happen with Doctor Strange and whatnot. So again, this is a world where things happen and it's just wildly accepted. But they were in the White Castle having the discussion, eating before Blood Sibs and company came to kick Riri's ass. But anyway. Okay,
so she was a small child from what I remember when she was what's it called, Matage? What's that she called again?
Carmitage.
So at Carmitage, her mother was a student at Carmitage at one point when she was a baby.
I think that's what it sounds like. Yeah, she left so that she could raise her child.
So at Carmitage, they teach the teachings of like all the dark mystics in, I guess, in Carmitage.
Well, remember, nothing was off limits. They could learn anything and everything. It was a matter of like if you practiced it or not. So like with Caecilius, Mads Mikkelsen's character, like he read like the old books. They weren't forbidden. It's just, you could learn all the things. It was just a matter if you actually practiced them.
Okay. Yeah, they just casually mentioned all of that like in a 30-second vacuum. I wish they would have kind of expanded more on that.
We're missing critical exposition.
Because Justin said this a while back too. Like when you try to connect everything, like the way you're trying to connect everything with the movies and TV shows, and you don't watch everything, it becomes gibberish to you. Like you don't know what the fuck Carmitage is. You don't know what the fuck Dormammu is. Like if you ain't watch Doctor Strange, you don't know who the fuck Dormammu is. Like you just like, oh, what, the boogeyman? Who the fuck is that? Like you don't know. And it just kind of it gets lost in translation.
Sure.
And I wish the shows were more self-contained. Yeah. I mean, it's cool for the Marvel geek who watches everything, but the casual watcher's not watching everything. So like when you say things like when you use these critical moments of like explaining things that are on other movies and shows, it can easily be lost in translation.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. It's hard to cater to all the audiences, to those who are locked in and know like the ins and outs of things. And then the casual viewer who is like, huh?
Yeah. Even for what is that?
Yeah, even for the people like me, I've seen everything, but like we're talking about what, 36 movies, 13 Disney Plus series. That's not counting several animated things also. So there's just been so much stuff that, and also like I'm not as familiar with the Doctor Strange movies. I like, I've seen them. I've seen them both a couple times.
I love them.
But like, if you throw something at me from like any of the Avengers movies or Civil War, in the Captain America movies or Iron Man or whatever, I got a pretty good understanding of it. But there's definitely some holes in my game, and Doctor Strange is certainly one of those. So,
hi, I'm here to save the day.
Yeah, I don't really know that shit. I saw Captain Americana, whatever that girl name is from the second one. It all just gets lost in translation for me.
America Chavez.
Chavez.
Yeah. Her, yeah.
Captain Americana.
It all gets like lost in translation for me because it's just, I don't know, magic just kind of, I lose my focus on magic. It just comes too convoluted after a while.
God, you make it so hard to love you.
It can be tough. It can be tough because with magic, you just wave your hand and then things can change. So it is a tough thing, but I think they did a pretty good job in this show, though. I think if you're trying to fuse tech and magic is not the easiest thing, and honestly doesn't really make sense, but they did their best to do that. And if Doom is if he is a combination of those two things, then I think it will be beneficial that we watch this and that we have kind of an idea of that.
At least it bridges into that thought.
Yeah.
If Doom is both magic and tech, then
yeah,
it's not like this is brand new information. It's like, oh wait, this has been like already foreshadowed.
Yeah,
before,
because usually
so.
Doom's mother is a witch.
The
Obviously,
sorceress,
obviously he has a suit, not unlike Iron Man. It's not exactly the same, but obviously he has a suit. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll find out about that. Moving on to the final episode, we've already hit a lot of this. The past is the title. This is where we get Mephisto. We get two great scenes with him, or a couple of scenes where we see where he made the deal with Parker Robbins, and we see at the end where he made the deal with Riri. I just want to mention a couple things, kind of Easter eggy things. I did enjoy whenever Riri was walking over to Mephisto at the end, and she's in her suit, and he's like, "Here you are in this goofy Transformer costume." I did think that was funny, given that Anthony Ramos was in the last Transformers movie.
Yep.
I don't know if that was an intentional, like kind of like a joke or whatever.
100% intentional. What are you
there was
talking
that,
about?
and then something Brittany, I want to know did you notice this when Mephisto is stirring his coffee or his drink, the spoon, we get his reflection and we see the red devil face.
Yeah, no, I did. I absolutely did catch that, and it's one of those things where you blink, it's gone situation. But I was watching it with John, and because I had already told him ahead of time, I said, "Hey, like the rumor is that the Hood got his hood from Mephisto, and obviously Mephisto's been teased." I said, "Pretty sure we're gonna get a Mephisto reveal." And I said, I only said that because I already knew ahead of time that Sacha Baron Cohen had been casted some time back. I said, that's the rumor. And so as soon as that had happened, of course, granted, we had already seen Sacha Baron Cohen on camera, but the little spoon trick, and then you said, like you said, the red devil eyes, it's like, yep, that's 100% him. Because I don't know if the rest of the world does this. I watch things with subtitles because I don't hear that well anymore. And sometimes dialogue just happens so quick, you just miss it.
Yeah.
But up until that moment, there was never, like, in parentheses or the brackets, like character name said this, especially if the scene was on a different person, right? But you're hearing dialogue in the background. After that, then it said Mephisto, and I was like, ah, that's so cool. I'm glad they didn't like spoil that ahead of time. But yeah, no, that was a really neat little Easter egg. I guess you could call it an Easter egg. But yeah, blink, it's gone.
Yeah. Frank, any thoughts about the Mephisto scenes or anything that you noticed you wanted to highlight?
Yeah, so I guess my question, so now is the Hood, is he released from his contract because he failed?
I don't think so.
That's a good question though, because I honestly I thought he was going to die without the Hood.
Me too. So
yeah,
I think because Mephisto's bargain was, I will give you the tools to get everything that you want. And Parker fulfilled that much, right? He used the Hood to get the thing that he wanted, which was the contracts and kick his dad out and be filthy, stinking, greasy rich, which I thought was really like oddly specific, right? But he did achieve all of that. He just wanted more. And that was something that his dad was trying to tell him in those last few moments before signing over on the contract, that, you know, you think you're getting what you want, but it's never going to be enough. And that much is true because Parker wanted more. And when he met with Mephisto in the safety room, that's what I call it. He's like, hey, you know, are you going to make the Hood more powerful so that I can get more? And Mephisto's like, I'm done with you. You know, like I've already fulfilled what I needed to with you. And I think that's the thing when you make deals with devils. If I've learned anything from watching Supernatural, is that there's loopholes. It's just up for interpretation. There's ways to get things twisted. I don't think this is going to be the last we'll see of like Mephisto and Parker like having some sort of encounter. I hope not. But I mean, everything is just kind of left up to chance when you're making deals with the devil.
But then Mephisto said he failed. So like with him saying that he failed, does that mean he failed and like the contract's broken and like because like Mephisto looked visibly upset. Like he looked like he was like, you fucked up. Like it wasn't like you fucked up. I got you so motherfucker. Like it wasn't like he wasn't like happy about it. Like he looked visibly frustrated with Parker.
Probably so, but I don't think Mephisto's done with him yet. I think he's gonna serve like another purpose in which if it means because now Mephisto's made a bargain with Riri, if now Parker is just gonna come after all of them and things are just gonna get twisted. Like I said, like when you make deals with the devil, there's loopholes. There's everything's left up for interpretation.
Yeah, I wonder, like, did Mephisto like make a deal with Parker because he knew eventually he'd get a deal with Riri? Was that like, was it like this long game or something? I mean, maybe there's no way to know that, but I do wonder if there's some kind of reason why, you know, that happened.
It's hard to know because you don't know how long ago Parker was first trying to rob his dad to the point that we're now watching the show and being successful in his endeavors, right? You don't know how much time has passed, obviously. So yeah, it's really hard to tell like if Mephisto is just kind of being like Big Brother and just like watching everybody and everything all at once and trying to figure out, hey, I'm going to use this person at this time to get to this person at this time. You see what I'm saying? Like it's hard to know. It's hard to know.
Yeah, or maybe Mephisto's working for somebody else that, you know, and they need to take Riri off the board or have her on their team. And I don't know. We'll see. I do hope that we see these characters in something coming up relatively soon. I'm not going to hold my breath on that, but I do hope that we get to see them pretty soon because this is a great ending. It was a great ending. It was. Like,
it was. And
it's really exciting.
And seeing the hood like transform in that final fight scene with Riri in the suit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, oh, when did we get Morbius? Like, I thought that was like he kind of reminded me of Morbius when he was more in that demonic vampire kind of mode. I was just like, what do I make of this? And I wish we had a little bit more explanation about like what was happening with either like the so-called scales. I looked at more like veiny cracking, you know, the markings on the Hood's body every time he did something, right? And he was constantly trying to cover up with tattoos. The other thing, it just left me as I was talking about explanation. But I did like the use of the holograms when it looked like Riri was defeated in the Hood and he's about to shoot her. I was like, how very like Tony Stark, right? Call back to whatever movie it was. I guess it was Civil War.
Civil War with the fart.
Yeah.
Fart or barf?
Barf.
I said the same thing the other day. I'm like, is it fart or Bart? I couldn't remember.
Barf, yeah.
Barf. Yeah. But it was barf. And how even Natalie, I'm backtracking, Natalie showed that really sweet moment of Riri and Gary when she was little in the garage, and just, you know, these memories are worth remembering. Like, yes, they're sad things, but like these memories are worth remembering and calling back. But just the use of the holographs to like be therapeutic in a way, but for Riri to use it as like a safety protocol was really, really ingenious. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. You know, also what I loved about the hologram scene was the fact that she didn't lose her suit again, because
oh god,
had that actually happened, it'd be like, man, you've lost 3 suits in 6 episodes. This is tough. Like, this is
and
tough.
The car.
And the car. Yeah. The suit, the car that you took to build the suit. Now you've lost that suit already. So
Jesus.
I'm glad it was a fake out by Riri.
I'm like, if that was the case, I was like, Riri, you deserve to make the dealing with the devil, because you dumb. Like, you're smart, but you dumb.
Exactly. Frank, any final thoughts on this episode or this season?
Yeah, I guess my question is, when the cousin of Parker was still alive, might have been episode 2, when he's working on his back, like, was the cousin in on it too? Did he know that was a demonic thing, or was it because like he was helping? I don't know. He was like helping complete it in his mind, a tattoo, because it looked like a tattoo at one point. Then it merged like scales. So like,
I think he was just trying to cover it up. But I'm sure he was in on it, because there was a time in one of the heists where John was all like Parker can't hold his breath that long, or he doesn't have enough time, because like if he went invisible while wearing the hood, he was like holding his breath for whatever reason.
Oh, that's
So
right.
he
Yeah.
had to have understood the gravity of what Parker did in order to gain the powers that he has.
Yeah.
So
I wish it was explained. I wish it
I
would.
know.
They didn't really explain that part because, like,
I agree.
there was a
Yeah.
point where, like, he's like, I don't like where you're. I don't. Some to the effect of, I'm paraphrasing, of course. Like, I don't
Sure.
like what you become or where you're going with this. I just wish it would have, like, they would have shown like a scene of him knowing and like being in disbelief of what's happening, or like being disgusted by it or whatever. But they kind of gloss over that whole of the cousin knowing if he did know. So
yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if this show was maybe originally an 8-episode season or maybe even a 10-episode season, and they just kind of chopped it up and like jammed it into 6, maybe just to kind of get it out there.
If that was the case, I still think they did a really good job doing that, because unlike Daredevil, that should have been 18 episodes, and they brought it down to, I don't even remember the amount anymore because I was just so disappointed with the show.
9.
Oh,
Yeah.
This would have at least told a good story, and it tied up its own loose ends. It leaves it open for a continuation of some kind.
Yeah.
But at least they fleshed out the story, the characters, and whatnot. I think they overall, if it was meant to be 10 episodes or just the 6, I think it still was really well done. And I'm kind of disappointed in Disney Marvel that they did not release it sooner. I mean, unless the intent was to, quote, lead into Doomsday, which I've heard several times from social media people saying this is what Ryan Coogler has said. But, you know, I take everything with a grain of salt.
But is it really a lead in when Doomsday doesn't come out to December of next year?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I say I take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah, because people are going to forget about what happened 18 months from now.
Yeah. I mean, this show was filmed in 2022, and at that point, the plan still was going to be the Kang Dynasty was the big Avengers movie coming up. So,
yeah,
who knows what was changed, or maybe they just made it to where like we want to release something and we can tweak it enough to where it will be kind of on its own enough. We'll have cool stuff, but maybe it doesn't have anything to do with anything else, which has been the theme of Phase 4 and 5. And by the way, this is the final project of Phase 5. So,
yeah.
So any other thoughts before we wrap up? And I have one more thing to talk about real quick, but anything else you want to mention about the season of Ironheart?
Yeah, I want to mention shout out to Riri's midsection throughout this season, man. Like, it was, man, she was showing every possible, and rightfully so, every possible opportunity she had a chance to show that 6-pack. She was showing that motherfucker. She was 6-packing out from episode 1 to 6, and I was not complaining.
Yeah.
Shout out to Riri for buying them J's. Okay, like she's got like the mocha high tops that I asked John to look it up. $300. All right, $300 for them shoes. She kept it real 100% the entire time. Also, shout out to Landon in the very end, the kid with the wagon. He's like, man, you owe me like $600 at this point. I'm like, thank you, Landon, for being the realist. You're respectful to your elders. Finally calling her Miss Riri, and shout out to you, kid, for being the realist. I like that kid. I liked him from the jump. He was good people.
Yeah. Good stuff. Ironheart this season. Hopefully we'll get some kind of continuation in some form. We'll have to wait and see on that. The final thing is I want to quickly mention what's coming up next for Marvel. July 25th is the next big movie, Fantastic Four: First Steps. Then we're back to TV on August 27th with Eyes of Wakanda. And I want to talk about that briefly because if you watched these 3 episodes, before the episodes, you got to see a little teaser trailer for Eyes of Wakanda. And Frank, I want to get your thoughts on this teaser trailer. It's only like 30 seconds. We don't know a ton about this project except for the fact that it's a Ryan Coogler project, and it seems to be some kind of a prequel to the Black Panther storyline. What'd you think about what you saw in this like brief clip?
Fucking loved it. Can't fucking wait.
Yeah.
He's undefeated. Ryan Coogler's undefeated. Like, he's 6-0 right now. He's batting 1,000. Like, the illustration, the animation looks dope. I'm a nerd for fictional Wakandan history, so I can't wait to see all the past Black Panthers, all the emperors and empress. I'm excited. Like, it looks majestic. It looks regal as fuck. I'm excited.
Brittany, any thoughts on it?
I can't top what Frank said. I mean, that's just, words right out of my mouth. Let's go.
Yeah.
Brian Coogler. I'm just going to throw in a sweetener, Frank. just in case you're interested, I know Sinners is going to come out on streaming platforms July 4th. I think it's on Max. I haven't seen it. I don't know if Justin's seen it, but I am totally in doing a pod review once that drops. If you, Tristan, want to join us to do a review on that.
Is water wet? Hell yeah.
Is the Pope a Catholic?
I just watched it 2 days ago.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I'm excited. So, I mean,
you
you talked about Ryan Coogler being on fire. I got to see what Sinners is all about, and I'm here to do a pod before we leave on vacation. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right.
So Eyes of Wakanda is going to be 4 episodes. It's going to be it's a mini series, and it's dropping August 27th, the first episode at least. And it's the first series of Phase 6, whereas Fantastic Four is the first official project of Phase 6. And then the rest of the year, we have Marvel Zombies coming October 3rd, which is going to be a continuation of the What If episode from season 1 of the zombie characters. And then finally, Wonder Man comes in December. No, there's no hard date for that, so it might get pushed, but I think it will actually come out in December. Looking forward to that one also. Anything y'all want to mention before we get out of here?
I still say for people, don't hate on Ironheart. I still don't fully understand the hate on Ironheart, other than the obvious, minority female lead and whatnot. Like y'all need to get over it. Like I'm sorry, y'all just need to get over it. It told a great story, in my personal opinion. Give it a shot and come back here, watch our reviews, and leave a comment, of course, letting us know your highs and lows of Ironheart.
Yeah. Frank, anything from you?
Nah, echoing what Brittany said, man. I mean, people have to learn how to not judge shit by its cover, and like not judge shit for what you see on the internet. Like, watch it for yourself, man.
Yeah.
Like if I was to go off the initial, I think the initial score was like 37%. Then like once the series was like running, it went up to 80-something%. I'm like, stop reading shit and just watch it for yourself. Like, stop being so judgmental of things you don't know or you have not seen for yourself with your own 2 eyes. I do not look at scores. I don't look at none of that shit. I watch it for myself, because things that are highly rated, I might not fuck with. Things that are lowly rated, I fuck with. So it's like, it's a good show, man. And it has good rewatch value as well. So yeah.
Well, and the problem, we talked about it last week, but there was review bombing of this show before it even was out in the public. Like people that were reviewing it that hadn't seen it yet, which to me, like, obviously that's a loser, just a loser mentality, total loser mentality. But also, like, to me, if you're Rotten Tomatoes or one of these aggregating sites, you shouldn't allow people to be able to review it if it's not available. And we're not talking about critical reviews. We're talking about, this was the fan score that was so low. The fan score should have been 0 because no one had seen it until it came out on, a week ago. So like, they gotta do a better job of that. But yeah, all in all, enjoyed the show, and looking forward to seeing what's next with Ironheart, and of course, whatever happens with the MCU. So now you know what we thought about Ironheart. We want to know what you thought about it. And Brittany, how can people let us know?
Well, just as King B. Johnson and Yesenia and M Moves did, they joined us in our live stream for today's pod. We appreciate you all being here and supporting us along the way. If you're watching the replay, we'd still love to hear your thoughts. As previously mentioned, leave a comment down below. But while you're doing so, consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Hit that like button. It really helps out our channel. And also hit the notification bell. That way you know the next time we go live, which I believe the next pod review will be The Bear Season 4. So join us for that.
Yep.
Tomorrow night at time of recording. Today is July 2nd. So join us for that. Check out our other pods, of course. Follow our social media. Links are in the description box down below. And check out our audio podcasts available to you on Spotify, Google Podcasts, something. And give us a follow and give us a 5-star rating as well.
Thanks, Brittany. I appreciate it. So for Brittany and for Frank, I'm Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.